Let's finish up race number 3 with question 8. It says that the NFT sale may be restarted by anyone any number of times. And alternatively, B says that it can only be started exactly once by the deployer. C says it is missing an additional check on public sale. And D says it is missing an event emission in start sale. So let's look at the code. We've already mentioned in previous questions that there is an issue in start sale, which enables anyone to call start sale and to basically start the sale as long as the price is unequal to 0. Now, what we haven't mentioned is that a sale can be started multiple times. So if the deployer has, as intended, started the sale and set a price that is unequal to 0, but maybe still quite high, then someone else could just call start sale again and set a much lower price. As long as it is unequal to 0, they are able to set a price that is much lower, maybe just exactly one way. And they would be able to do this because there is no check here to prevent a sale to be restarted. And not only would this allow the price to be reset, this would also allow the timestamp here to be reset, which means that the price was intended to decrease over time. And by restarting the sale, basically the decrease that has happened so far would be reset as well. So users could exploit this to set a much smaller price from the start, and an administrator could currently exploit this. Even if this was correctly end, they could exploit this to reset the price to be higher again to their own benefit. So indeed, it can be recalled, restarted by anyone and not just by the deployer, and not only once. And also there is a check missing for public sale, because if we would check public sale in this require statement as well and require it to be false, then this wouldn't be possible to happen. It would only be possible to start the sale once, and then this function would become uncallable basically. Well, arguably we don't even need this variable. If this price would be correctly set to non-zero and the price was 0 by default, we can just detect, or we can determine whether the sale has started just by checking whether the price is unequal to 0 now. So that will be another way to do it basically, to avoid having the variable entirely and having more checks for this variable. But doing it as intended, there's indeed a check missing for this variable here. So yes, it may be restarted by anyone. No, it cannot only be started by the deployer once. It is indeed missing an additional check on public sale. And D, it is missing an event emit in start sale. And yes, we haven't seen any event emission in start sale. As you can see, no emit of any events, and also none of the other functions are emitting any events, and neither does the contract even define any events. And that's kind of bad, because it makes it hard to keep track of what's happening on chain. It is much easier to monitor events for changes, and that's why there is a best practice that all of the state changing functions should emit events, especially those functions that allow privileged users to make changes to the protocol, which start sale clearly is. So I would say there is definitely an event emission missing here, which should be there, and therefore D is also correct. And that finishes up race number 3, which was, by the way, the last race that was copied from Epoch 0. So all the races from 0 to 3 have been retroactively declared to be races, and originally they were quizzes from Epoch 0. So in Epoch 0, I think we had 7 blog posts and 7 quizzes, so 1 quiz for each blog post. I think we had like 1 week or 2 weeks time to study the blog post and then to participate in the quiz. And 4 of these quizzes have been selected to become races. So the next race is going to be an original content of Epoch Infinity. The difference between Epoch 0 and Epoch Infinity is that Epoch 0, the content was released during the Epoch 0, new content every week or every 2 weeks. I think it was every week. And now with all the content already released and already available, we no longer need to do these weekly quizzes, anything like that. Rather than that, we expect participants to just learn the content at their own pace, practice using the old quizzes and old races, and then just participate in the monthly races to check their knowledge. So if you are already experienced in smart contract security, you can just completely and entirely skip all of the content from Epoch 0 and just start practicing the races, starting with race 0 and so on. Now, as I already have previously mentioned in a question, is that the content from Epoch 0 was from the time pre-merge. So there are some inaccuracies now, some things that are no longer correct because they have changed with the time. And we are now working on the Secureum book, which will have all the updated content. So this is an effort to update all of the Epoch 0 content to be accurate now that the merges happened and other things have changed. This should include all of those changes, and we invite all of you to participate here, to contribute to it. As you can see, you will be mentioned, and I think there will even be other rewards for participating, such as NFTs. And yeah, do check out the Secureum book if you are looking for more up-to-date content than Epoch 0, but also keep looking at Epoch 0 because I don't think all of the content of Epoch 0 has been transferred over to the Secureum book yet. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the Epoch 0 content in the races, and with the next race we will start with the Epoch Infinity content.